Welcome to Gold Coast Insider, where we bring you business insights, stories, opportunities and forecasts from movers and shakers across the Gold Coast. I'm your host, Estella Rodiguero. I'm CEO of Regional Development Australia Gold Coast. The Gold Coast unemployment rate is currently at 3.4%. And with unemployment at historically low levels, businesses face challenges in recruiting and retaining skilled staff, particularly in health, construction, digital and the hospitality sectors. Today we're unpacking Australia's skill migration program and its critical role in bridging workforce gaps, with three expert voices from the Department of Home Affairs, Business, Industry and Regional Outreach, or BIRO. So joining us today is Yvette Adams, Assistant Director for Queensland and National Agriculture Lead, Camm Gibson, who's the National Director for Northern Territory and Construction Lead, and Natalie Walsh, Acting Assistant Director for the Health Outreach and Engagement Team. Together they bring a wealth of insight into Australia's skill migration program and how it supports businesses, industry sectors and regional communities to meet pressing workforce needs. If you would like to hear more episodes, don't forget to like, subscribe and follow. So welcome all of you and thank you for spending your time with me today. So let's start with Yvette. If I can ask you this, what is the actual role of the Business, Industry and Regional Outreach or BIRO officers within the Department of Home Affairs?
Thanks, Estella, and thanks for having us on the podcast today. As you've mentioned, we have Business, Industry and Regional Outreach officers in the Department of Home Affairs, and our role is to increase the understanding of available migration programs and visa pathway options, which are going to support employers where they can't fill their workforce vacancies through the local labour market.
Yep.
We also ensure stakeholders have a forum to raise concerns and are given the relevant visa information to make an informed migration decision, whilst providing a dedicated platform to communicate complex migration information.
It is quite convoluted, isn't it? I mean, for employers to step through that process, it does take some time, doesn't it?
It does. And if you're an employer who hasn't gone through a process of employing someone from overseas before, it can be quite daunting. So that's where, as BIROs, we sort of step in and we can assist and support a local business through navigating a really complex migration system. Each state and territory have their own dedicated email address where businesses can contact us directly with their inquiries or share any issues they may be experiencing with our visa programs or with our systems. Each state and territory have lead sectors such as education, agriculture, resources and technology, and many others. Our network also has a dedicated BIRO health team and a dedicated BIRO construction team, and these respective teams provide tailored information and support to those specific sectors, which, as we know, are of critical importance across Queensland and also across Australia.
So for a little bit more background on the visas, in 2024, and I'll hand this over to you, Nat, if that's okay, there were some significant changes to the skilled visa products, which resulted from the government's migration review. Can you give us a bit of an overview of those visa changes?
Sure. So in December of 2024, following the government's release of the migration strategy, which outlined 8 key initiatives to address the complexity and issues in the migration system, there were 2 new visa programs introduced, specifically on the 7th of December. They were both introduced, and that's the National Innovation Visa that we call the NIV, to drive productivity growth in sectors of national importance, which replaced the Global Talent Visa, the subclass 858, and also the Skills in Demand Visa that we call the SID, which replaced the Temporary Skill Shortage Visa. We love our acronyms.
Oh, no.
And that was subclass 482. So the NIV is a permanent visa for people who have an internationally recognised record of exceptional and outstanding achievements in critical sectors. So it includes individuals who are global researchers, entrepreneurs, innovative investors, athletes, and creatives. Whereas the Skills in Demand, or the SID visa, is a temporary employer-sponsored skilled visa. And that's designed to enable employers to address labour shortages in their business by bringing in skilled overseas workers where they can't find a suitably qualified Australian worker. So the SID is able to be used to fill those vacancies, and there's over 450 types of occupations available through the SID.
So through the NIV, how
Yep.
many are there similar vacancies or occupations that are on that list, or how many are on that list?
So the NIV works a little differently. You don't have to be on an occupation list.
Okay.
There are priorities
Yeah.
on that, and
So
there's different priorities.
I can actually see this being really big for the Gold Coast because of our incredible, medical and biomedicine and things like that, and where we need those specialists that can come in. I think that would be something that would be really handy for us. Would that be the visa program that would fit that?
Yeah, definitely a program that can be used to fill some of, bringing talent really
Yeah, yeah.
for that industry.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's really good. But with the new Skills in Demand, the SID visa program, can you tell us more about this product and how some of the key features or changes that businesses will need to be aware of when they're using the temporary skilled visa program?
Yeah, sure. So the SID visa provides a streamlined temporary visa pathway
Yeah.
for skilled migrants with occupations, as I said, that are listed on the new core skills occupation list.
Mhm.
And there are 3 streams, 2
Mhm.
which are currently available for businesses and one that is under development. So the 2 streams that are available now are the specialist skills stream and the core skills stream. So I'll tell you a little bit about each.
Yeah.
Specialist skills stream recognises highly skilled workers who bring significant economic benefits to Australia. While there's no specific occupation list for this stream, applicants must be in an occupation from I'll call it the Australian and New Zealand Standard Classification
Mm. Mm.
of occupations, but otherwise known as the ANSCO. And ANSCO has major groups, so they need to be from either major group 1, which includes managers, group 2, which is professionals, group 4, which covers community and personal service workers, group 5 for clerical and administrative workers, and group 6, which includes sales workers. So applicants are also required to have work experience.
Mhm.
They need any necessary skills assessment for their occupation, and they need to be earning the specialist skills income threshold or above, which is currently sitting at 135,000 per annum, and
Mhm.
it's indexed annually at the end of June. So the SID stream provides a streamlined approach that will ensure Australia can quickly and easily recruit some top talent in areas of
Mm.
need.
Mm.
And the government has committed to a service standard of 7 business days medium visa processing for decision-ready applications in this stream. And when we say decision-ready, we mean that all the required documentation is submitted at the initial stage
Mm.
of lodgement of the application. And then there is the core skills stream, which is available to be used for all of the 456 occupations on that core skills occupation list,
Mhm.
as long as the individual is being paid the core skills income threshold, which is currently sitting at 73,150 and is indexed annually as well in June each year.
That the government's committed to a service standard of 7 days is
Yes.
is is phenomenal because businesses need that assurance, don't they?
Yeah, it is fantastic, and I'm really proud of the work that we do
Mm.
in that space. It is specific, though, to the specialist stream. The core skills stream
Mm.
does have a longer processing time, but it's sitting currently at 21 business days medium, so still
Yep,
exceptionally
it is.
short for
Yeah.
what it offers. Yeah, absolutely. So I was just going to ensure that it's really important that those timeframes can really only be met for decision-ready applications, because once we have to go into writing to an applicant, asking for extra information, providing them with a certain amount of time to come back to us with that information, it just really blows out that time frame. So that is, those timeframes obviously can't be met when we receive incomplete applications.
No, that makes sense as well. Well, that then leads to, I think we mentioned it can be quite a convoluted process. What resources are available for businesses and the migrants to better understand and navigate those visa requirements, their obligations, and their conditions?
I'd be happy to take that one, Stella.
Yeah, thanks, Cam.
Yeah, so quite easily, you can just go to our website, the Home Affairs website, and there's a great deal of information that's available for employers, but prospective migrants and visa applicants that is available on that website. And the easiest way to find the information on visa conditions and obligations will just be to go to the search bar and just type in "working in Australia." And this search will bring up various tiles with information on temporary and permanent work visas, skills assessments, work rights, and all the information that an employer or prospective migrant visa applicant is going to need in order to go through the process. As for sponsor obligations, they're a very important part of becoming a visa sponsor, and it's really important that any employer that is wanting to use the skilled visa program is aware of their obligations. And of course, the BIRO network is also here to assist, and we can help you to find and understand information on those visa conditions and on those sponsor obligations. And we'd be happy for businesses to reach out to us seeking this information.
And the important role that BIRO outreach help can do in the States and nationally as well, I think would be invaluable to step them through the process. And I will put that link to the webpage at the bottom of this podcast. What are some of the most common concerns that you hear from businesses about using the visa program?
I'm happy to take this question, Stella. The most common concern by far that we hear from stakeholders is around the complexity of our visa programs.
Yeah.
And to be honest, it's a fair concern. The number of visas on offer, the various settings, the rules, requirements, it can be overwhelming for business, particularly small businesses that don't have a dedicated human resource team doing their recruitment. We always recommend employers or those who have an interest in learning more about visa programs. We recommend that they take their time to research and understand the different products available on offer. And once individuals begin to understand the different visas and pathways, we find most feel more confident in navigating the process. However, of course, our BIRO network is here to support businesses whenever in need. And if individuals don't feel confident navigating the process on their own, we recommend that they seek the services of a registered migration agent or a migration lawyer.
Because we haven't actually mentioned either of those sectors as well, or not sectors, but support systems as well, which we might get to a little bit later as well. But for businesses in Queensland, particularly those on the Gold Coast, how do the updated visas impact on their ability to hire skilled workers from overseas?
Well, one major benefit of the new settings in the skills in demand visa, Estella, is that there are now clearer pathways to permanent residence for all temporary skilled sponsored workers, which is great news. So the skills in demand visa has a clear pathway to permanent residence through the temporary residence transition pathway under the employer nomination scheme. Now, this means less administrative burden for the employers and also for visa applicants. And of course, it enables businesses to retain workers permanently, which is really great news for businesses. Another change which benefits employers is that the work experience requirement for the skills in demand visa has been reduced from 2 years to 1 year for all visa applicants. And finally, another major improvement is that the core skilled occupation list enables businesses to hire workers in 456 different occupations, which is huge. And this includes many that are critical across the Gold Coast in sectors such as health, education, construction, tourism, and hospitality. And of course, there's occupations that support the growing Gold Coast biomedical industry as well.
Yeah, that's good news for the Gold Coast and certainly much needed as well. Cam, in the intro, I mentioned that you were the national lead for the construction sector. So I'd like to ask you a couple of questions around that sector. If we looked at the
Sure.
construction industry, how does the updated employment visa conditions in 2025 help address the skill shortages, particularly given Queensland's booming construction sector?
Yes, thank you for that question, Stella. So, what we know is that domestic training and workforce growth is unlikely to be sufficient to meet the economic growth and the job demand that is coming over the next few years. And this is driven by significant forecast investment in Queensland's infrastructure projects and the changing workforce
Absolutely.
demographics.
Mm,
So right now, Queensland, as you would know, is experiencing one of its tightest labour markets in recent history. This is with continued economic growth and job demand that is predicted in the coming years, including being driven by the Brisbane
yeah,
2032 Olympic Games, which is going to obviously increase the demand for workers, particularly in the construction sector, that is required to build the infrastructure projects that will be needed for the Olympic Games. So getting the people with the right skills is going to be imperative to
yeah.
support a booming Queensland economy. And labour shortages are often leading to project delays, increased costs, and the skilled migrant workforce can be a part of the solution to address the current and the predicted skill shortages that will be faced by Queensland businesses, and will support local employers to meet those current and future workforce demands. So, as previously mentioned, the Skills in Demand, or the SID visa, supports skilled overseas workers to be sponsored by an Australian business using the revised and updated skilled occupation list, or the CSOL as we call it. And this now includes additional construction related occupations. And the addition of these occupations on the CSOL, it was determined through extensive labour market analysis and stakeholder consultations by
Hmm.
Jobs and Skills Australia, and it has been quite welcomed by the sector. The expansion of the construction-related occupations that are now available under the core skilled occupation list, we expect will help to alleviate the severe labour shortage that the construction and housing sectors are currently experiencing.
Mm. So Cam, to follow up on that, what are some of the specific construction-related occupations that are now prioritised under the updated visa conditions?
Yes, so some notable new inclusions on that skilled occupation list for
Mm.
the SID visa include building and engineering technicians, electronic and mechanical engineering technicians, mechanical engineering draftspersons, surveying or spatial technicians, and trades such as furniture maker, floor finisher, fire protection plumber. So quite a number. And in total, there's over 80 construction related occupations that are now
Wow.
included on the core skills occupation list. Other notable construction related occupations that are on that list include architects, surveyors, civil engineering, project managers, building inspectors, building and construction trades. Yeah, so it really does cover
Mm.
quite a broad number of construction and trades related occupations. So I encourage businesses in the construction sector that may be struggling to find local workers to have a look at the list on our website.
Wow, that's quite a substantial list and a necessary list. But if I was a construction business, how can I commence that process to recruit and sponsor overseas workers to support the demand now and for future housing and infrastructure projects?
Sure. So there's a few steps that a business will need to take before they
Yep.
can sponsor an overseas worker. So first, the business is going to need to test the local labour market to see if there's any Australian workers that are available to do the job.
Can you talk me
And if
through that process, Cam, a little bit? Can you explain that? So I'm a business out there. I need to test the market. What does test the market mean?
Sure. So testing the local labour market, basically that means they will need to advertise for the position.
Okay.
And to advertise for the position, there's some certain requirements around how the advertising will need to work. The details are available on our website.
Yep.
Once a business has gone out to the local labour market and confirmed that there are no Australian workers that are available to do the job, then they can consider recruiting an overseas worker.
Yep.
So to do this, it's a 3-step process. And the first step is to go onto the department's online portal for managing visa processes. And this is referred to as a IMI account. And the IMI account allows the user to create and manage their application, track its status, make visa application payments, interact with the department electronically. So to be eligible to sponsor an overseas worker, a business will need to be legally established and currently operating inside or outside of Australia and have no adverse information associated with the business. I'll just note here that businesses using the employer nomination scheme, which is the subclass 186 visa, and this is a direct entry to permanent residency pathway, do not need to become a business sponsor. The business just needs to fill out all of the required information, provide all of the requested information, and it's important to be aware that the assessment process will take longer if the application contains any incorrect information or if there's any missing documents. So some common mistakes to be aware of is that names are spelt correctly and they match the passport, including the middle name, date of birth is entered in the right format. Any documents that are not in English are translated into English, and the details of the translator are included. And if there's any documents that that they're unable to get, then there's clearly explained why those documents have not been able to be provided. So as long as all of the information is in there correctly and all the required information is attached to the application, then there shouldn't be any problem for that application moving through the process within those standard median processing times. But we do encourage the business to leave plenty of time to collect all the necessary documents and information.
Is this also a role that if they are having some difficulty or have some queries that the outreach officers can support them through as well or not?
Certainly, we can help provide this information to employers, to visa applicants to help them to understand what they need to do. But we do encourage if a business is looking for specific information to help them with the application, the visa process, that if they're feeling overwhelmed with the process, that they can go to engage a registered migration agent or a migration lawyer, and that can be a good investment. And they're able to provide businesses with specific migration advice.
Very good advice. Okay, let's look at our health sector because we do know that this is the next sector that's heavily adverse through lack of workforce. And I think, Natalie, that must turn to you because you're the acting assistant director for the BIRO Health Outreach and Engagement Team. So what are the healthcare occupations that are currently on Australia's priority skills list?
So, there's an extensive list of healthcare and allied health occupations on the core skills occupation list. There's general practitioners, medical specialists ranging from cardiologists, neurologists, surgeons, paediatricians. There's, of course, nurses and midwives, pharmacists, physios, social workers, psychologists, and many, many more. The health sector is really well represented on this core skills occupation occupation list. But for someone wanting to see the full list, just search on the Home Affairs website, skilled occupation list. You can see the full list available.
So healthcare professionals are in high demand, as we've mentioned in Queensland. How do the new visa changes affect the healthcare workers looking to work on the Gold Coast?
So the introduction of the SID, so that's the subclass 482, includes a number of key changes that will have a direct impact on the recruitment of overseas healthcare workers. So firstly, there's the reduction of work experience from 2 years to 1 year, noting that, of course, the skill assessments, registration and the licensing requirements, as we mentioned earlier, still apply. And that specialist skill stream of the SID visa, having that 7 business day median processing time for decision-ready applications is, a huge commitment and something that really assists employers getting people in their roles and working really, really quickly. Of course, noting that stream, they do need to be earning over $135,000 per year. But of course, in the medical occupations, that would, many of those occupations will meet that threshold. So it just allows for a streamlined and fast-track pathway for many healthcare workers, and like I said, including doctors and allied health professionals. It's also important to note that there is also additional skilled work visas, such as the Skilled Employer-Sponsored Regional Provisional Visa, which is a subclass 494, and a Skilled Work Regional Provisional Visa, which is a subclass 491. And they are only available for people living and working in regional Australia, and that, of course, includes the Gold Coast.
Yep.
Yes, so the 491
Yep.
enables the state government to also sponsor. So to have access to that visa, you need an invitation from the state government, and so it allows them the opportunity to sponsor skilled health professionals who are committed to living in regional Queensland. And as I said, that of course includes the Gold Coast. And then there's also the short stay specialist visa, which is a subclass 400. It's another program that's available for short term. So that could be for locum work or special activity for a period of up to 6 months. That may also be an option for healthcare providers to consider.
Oh, that's so good because that fills that locum gap and that availability. That's a brilliant one. But the Gold Coast has a growing biomedical sector. How do visa programs support the growth of this really important sector to the Gold Coast?
So yes, absolutely. Gold Coast biomedical sector, can really benefit from the skills in demand visa. So that specialist stream will allow that fast track of recruitment for a range of highly experienced individuals, which is managers and specialists, while the core skills stream will offer early and mid-career managers and workers a simplified pathway. The CSOL contains a range of occupations that are eligible for the SID visa, which includes biochemists, biomedical engineers, lab workers, diagnostic roles, and a range of pharmaceutical occupations. Whereas the National Innovation Visa that we mentioned earlier is also a visa for this sector to consider, as the NIV offers permanent residency for highly talented and globally recognised researchers and innovators.
And coming back to you, Yvette, you actually travel a lot. So, you're in different towns and different areas. And so you do a lot of information sessions. I mean, you do workshops, you present it. I've had you presenting down here on the Gold Coast a couple of times now. And also I've heard you at different breakfasts. So that is also part of that process, isn't it? Are you still going to be doing these workshops? Are you still bringing it out to the community or to the business community?
Absolutely, Estella. So the business, industry and regional outreach team across Australia are always travelling out around their prospective states and territories. We get out into the regional areas and the remote areas. We offer support to local communities and local businesses. We provide visa information sessions. We also do a range of webinars, which our service is free, and businesses can link into any of those to find out more information about visa programs, as we've already talked about.
Yeah. And so what I might do is also put a link to whatever your upcoming workshops and webinars as well, so that people can link in and attend those. It's been absolutely interesting and informative to speak to yourselves, Yvette, Camm, and Natalie. And thank you for spending the time today to talk us through some of those changes that have been made within the skilled migration process, and also your roles and how you can support businesses through those processes in the different sectors. So thank you very much for your time today.
Thanks,
so much,
Estella.
Stella.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening today. For a complete list of podcast episodes and transcripts, go to rdagoldcoast.org.au/podcasts. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Twitter.